A little girl who had not spoken a complete sentence in nearly 3 years suddenly leaned toward a quiet single father at a crowded charity event and whispered words that made one of the richest women in the country stop breathing for a moment. The billionaire mother froze as her daughter gently rested a trembling hand against the stranger's sleeve, and tears silently rolled down the child's face as though she had somehow recognized a man she had never met. Around them, expensive conversations faded into silence, cameras lowered, and no one could understand why a frightened little girl trusted an ordinary father more deeply than anyone she had known. Some moments change a family forever before anyone realizes history has already begun. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing stories that remind us compassion still changes lives. Cecilia Harrow had spent 2 decades building one of the largest technology companies in North America. Financial magazines called her fearless. Business reporters described her as brilliant and impossible to defeat. Investors admired her discipline while competitors feared her precision. Yet every achievement became meaningless the day her husband lost his life during a daytime helicopter inspection of one of their renewable energy facilities. Since that tragedy, every decision had revolved around protecting her only daughter, 9-year-old Eliza. The once cheerful little girl slowly disappeared behind silence. Doctors called it selective mutism caused by overwhelming trauma. Therapists patiently worked with her for years, but Eliza rarely trusted anyone enough even to smile. Cecilia bought the finest medical care available, surrounded her daughter with tutors, counselors, security teams, and every comfort money could provide, but none of it reached the lonely place where the frightened child had hidden her heart. Across the same city lived Graham Mercer, a construction safety inspector raising his 7-year-old son, Owen. Few people knew that Graham had once served in an elite naval special operations unit. During years of dangerous missions, he had learned extraordinary skills, but he rarely mentioned that chapter of his life. The medals remained inside an old wooden box tucked away in a closet because they reminded him not of glory but of friends who never came home. After leaving military service, Graham married his college sweetheart, only to lose her during complications from a sudden illness several years later. Becoming both father and mother to Owen transformed him completely. His greatest victories were no longer impossible missions but packing lunches, helping with homework, and teaching his son that strength meant protecting others with kindness rather than intimidation. One bright Saturday afternoon, Graham volunteered at a children's rehabilitation fundraiser held in a botanical garden filled with colorful flowers, gentle music, and families enjoying the sunshine. Owen had convinced his father to help organize games for children recovering from serious illnesses and emotional trauma. Cecilia attended as the event's primary donor, hoping Eliza might enjoy a peaceful afternoon surrounded by nature instead of another clinical office. Security personnel remained respectfully distant while photographers quietly documented the charity gathering. Eliza wandered slowly through a butterfly garden until she noticed Owen carefully helping a younger child build a tiny wooden birdhouse. Graham knelt nearby, encouraging every child with remarkable patience. There was nothing dramatic about him. He smiled warmly, listened carefully, and treated every child as though each one mattered more than the schedule. Something about that quiet gentleness captured Eliza's attention. She continued watching until Graham noticed a loose wooden plank creating a small tripping hazard beside the craft area. Without attracting attention, he calmly guided several children away before quickly securing the board with borrowed tools. Hardly anyone even realized what had happened. Eliza walked closer. She looked at Graham for several long moments before softly whispering, "You make scary things feel safe." Those 6 words shattered 3 years of silence. Cecilia nearly dropped the folder she had been carrying. Doctors standing nearby stared in disbelief. Volunteers stopped moving. Graham himself looked surprised but remained calm, understanding that any sudden emotional reaction might frighten the little girl. Instead, he simply smiled with quiet reassurance and continued helping another child paint a birdhouse, allowing Eliza to remain completely comfortable. For the first time since her father's death, Eliza stayed near another adult without showing fear. Cecilia thanked Graham with genuine emotion before introducing herself. Graham recognized her name from newspaper headlines but showed no interest in her wealth or reputation. He spoke only about the children enjoying the afternoon. That simple honesty impressed Cecilia more than any polished executive ever had. Over the following weeks, Eliza repeatedly asked to visit the community center where Graham volunteered during weekends. Rather than questioning why her daughter trusted this man, Cecilia accepted the miracle unfolding before her eyes. Graham never attempted to become a therapist or substitute parent. He simply treated Eliza with patience, consistency, and quiet respect. Owen welcomed her naturally into games, puzzles, and outdoor activities, never making her feel different because she spoke very little. As trust slowly returned, Eliza began speaking a little more each week. One sunny afternoon while everyone planted flowers in a community garden, Eliza carefully placed tiny seedlings into fresh soil beside Graham. She finally explained why she had whispered to him that first day. After her father's accident, loud noises and sudden movements constantly frightened her. Adults around her often looked worried, spoke softly, or watched her with sadness. Graham was different. He always looked around first before acting. He noticed dangers before they became emergencies. He smiled without pretending everything was perfect. Somehow, she felt protected simply standing nearby. Cecilia quietly listened from several yards away, tears filling her eyes. That evening, while reviewing volunteer records connected to the charity foundation, one board member casually mentioned Graham's military background. Curious, Cecilia privately learned that Graham had once participated in numerous rescue operations involving civilians trapped after natural disasters and dangerous emergencies. His calm awareness, protective instincts, and extraordinary patience had been shaped through years spent saving lives rather than taking them. Suddenly, everything made sense. Graham had never spoken about any of it because he believed the past belonged in the past. Respect for him grew even deeper. As months passed entirely under bright skies and warm afternoons, Cecilia found herself visiting the community center more often. She observed how Graham encouraged frightened children to believe in themselves without making impossible promises. Every child left feeling stronger than when they had arrived. Business success had taught Cecilia how to build companies. Watching Graham taught her how to build trust. Meanwhile, problems emerged inside Cecilia's corporation. An ambitious executive attempted to pressure her into approving dangerous cost-cutting measures affecting employee safety. Public relations advisors insisted the issue remain hidden until quarterly reports were released. For the first time in years, Cecilia hesitated. She remembered Graham quietly fixing the loose wooden plank before anyone became injured. Real leadership prevented harm instead of hiding it. Ignoring expensive advice, Cecilia ordered immediate safety improvements across every facility despite the enormous financial cost. Investors initially criticized the decision, causing headlines to question her judgment. Graham never offered business advice. He simply reminded Owen every afternoon that doing the right thing often feels expensive before it becomes priceless. Those simple words stayed with Cecilia. Months later, independent inspectors discovered serious structural issues that could have caused devastating workplace accidents had the repairs been delayed. Thousands of employees remained safe because Cecilia chose integrity over profit. Public opinion transformed overnight. Employees expressed heartfelt gratitude, and the company earned renewed trust stronger than before. Cecilia privately admitted that one quiet father's example had changed the direction of an entire corporation. Yet Graham faced struggles of his own. His son's school announced funding cuts that threatened after-school programs benefiting hundreds of children. Graham organized local volunteers, sacrificing countless weekends to keep educational activities alive. He refused to seek publicity despite growing financial pressure. When Cecilia learned about the situation, she quietly established a permanent educational foundation supporting community centers across the region. She carefully ensured Graham received no special treatment beyond knowing that countless families would benefit from stable resources. When Graham discovered the anonymous donation had come from Cecilia, he thanked her not because of the money but because she had invested in children rather than recognition. Eliza continued healing. She laughed again. She painted colorful landscapes. She joined school activities. Most importantly, she no longer measured every day by the memory of loss but by the possibility of tomorrow. One afternoon during a family picnic organized by volunteers, Eliza looked across the open field where children happily flew colorful kites beneath a bright blue sky. She carefully placed one drawing into Graham's hands. It showed 4 figures holding hands beneath the sun. Cecilia, Eliza, Graham, and Owen stood together while butterflies surrounded them. At the bottom she had written, in careful handwriting, "Safe isn't a place. Safe is people who choose love." No one spoke for several moments. Some gifts cannot be purchased. Some victories never appear on financial statements. Some heroes never wear uniforms after coming home. Years earlier, Graham had believed losing his military career and later his wife meant life had taken everything important from him. Cecilia believed unimaginable wealth could protect the people she loved. Both eventually discovered the same truth. Healing begins not with power or money but with ordinary people choosing extraordinary compassion every single day. As time passed, their families naturally became one another's greatest source of encouragement. There was no dramatic fairy tale rescue, only thousands of small acts of patience, honesty, forgiveness, and kindness gradually rebuilding hearts that had once seemed permanently broken. Graham's quiet courage inspired Cecilia to lead with greater humanity. Cecilia's generosity expanded opportunities for countless children. Owen gained a sister-like friend who understood resilience, while Eliza finally discovered a future brighter than the tragedy behind her. Before we reach the end of this journey, please leave a meaningful comment sharing one lesson this story reminded you about trust, healing, forgiveness, or the quiet people whose kindness changes lives when we least expect it. The years continued bringing sunny mornings filled with laughter, volunteer projects, school celebrations, blooming gardens, and countless ordinary afternoons that slowly became extraordinary memories. Cecilia no longer measured success by magazine covers or market value but by hearing her daughter confidently greet new friends with a smile. Graham no longer wondered whether his greatest mission had ended when he left military service because he realized his most important calling had always been helping wounded hearts feel safe again. The greatest legacy they created together was never measured in billions of dollars or military honors. It lived inside every child who learned that courage can be gentle, strength can be compassionate, and hope always grows where love is patiently planted. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we all remember that sometimes the strongest person in the room is not the one with the greatest wealth or the most remarkable past, but the one who quietly helps another frightened soul believe that tomorrow is worth trusting again.